for the long time, but I don't really have an excuse for it, to be honest with you. I have not streamed to YouTube in months. In that time, I haven't really done anything special. I cut all my hair. I don't know if you can tell. I cut all my hair. Got a little afro going on here. It's cold as hell where I'm at, and so my lips are really chapped. That's just a thing. I have to live with that. But I, I felt like I had a reason to talk to you guys today. I haven't really felt like I had many reasons to talk to anybody because, to be honest with you, I have not really been interested in K-pop. I really haven't, and for a myriad of reasons, I'll go into those things. Good to see you. But let me start with Park Bomb because that is literally the only reason why you're seeing me on this good day. Park Bomb, who is our beloved from 2NE1, she recently put out a Instagram statement, I believe, basically saying that her whole situation with her being caught with Adderall was a cover up for Sandara's drug problem. Now, I'm just going to start off by saying, I don't know if what she's claiming against Sandara is true, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I know it to be true because I really do not. But if you've been watching me for any length of time, you already know when Park Bomb's whole Adderall situation first happened, I was the first person with an aluminum hat that said, "This is YG trying to divert attention against their wrongs and crimes." I absolutely said that shit. I feel like this is me telling you I told you so. But also, I feel like because Park Bomb has been so fucking manipulated and villainized and disregarded as a person who may be struggling with mental health and disability, uh, people don't take her fucking seriously. Sandara could be in the street with a spliff in her mouth, and people would be like, "That's a cigarette, guys." Bomb doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Again, I'm not going to say that Sandara is doing drugs. What I'm going to say is YG has done such an excellent job of crafting the narrative around Park Bomb that Park Bomb is crazy. Park Bomb is emotional. Park Bomb's got physical issues, mental issues. Look at what she did to her fucking face. Even though I am certain that what she did to her fucking face was probably because YG kept telling her she's ugly. Because we've seen YG tell people the women from 2NE1 are ugly. So yeah, do you think that maybe she's been gaslit to fucking hell and back? And this is the reason why we're sitting here today with her basically saying I was used as a cover up? Because maybe after all these years, she's finally getting some of her sanity back. I'm not saying that everything that Bomb is asserting is true. But let's also crawl back in time a little bit. Members of the YG family of artists have had drug scandals. We had a member of Icon have a drug scandal. We had, of course, Top from Big Bang have a drug scandal. So it's not like it's impossible to believe that somebody from YG might be doing drugs. And also, not for nothing, Sandara doesn't have a sterling relationship right now with the public because she admitted to being a 19-year-old dating a 15-year-old and laughed about it. Also, accusing CL of being a terrible leader, not for nothing. I'm not saying CL is the worst leader of all time. I'm sure there's other people that deserve that crown. But I remember when Minzy left 2NE1, I thought that the way CL allowed YG to craft the narrative, as someone who knew Minzy a lot more because she was with Minzy for longer, knowing how young Minzy was, how young CL was, and how manipulative this industry was, the way that she was like, I'm fine with people just treating her like shit. I'm fine with it making it seem like it's us against her. I remember thinking then, like, do you think that maybe you shouldn't take a strong position on this since you know that no one gets treated well in K-pop? Turn around and look how YG did you. Look how they treated your solo career. Look how they treated you for years as if you were an afterthought. So I say all this to say, I think Park Bomb releasing her statement really was somebody lifting the final veil on second gen. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened with second gen that lifts the veil. I mean, between so many ex idols being accused of being sex pests, between so many idols losing their lives to self-harm, between so many idols having to just go into a whole nother industry because there was never any money made being an idol. So they had to find another way to live life because life has to continue. And then I'm looking at Taman, and I haven't talked about Shiny in a really long time. But when I look at Taman and his recent situation with BPM, I believe Taman got involved with that because it was former managers of SM or former executives of SM that were a part of that situation. There's never any good place under capitalism. When it comes to K-pop and people are like, oh, you ought to sign to Psy's label, or you ought to sign to this label, or you ought to sign to that label. The fact is they're labels. I think that's the reason why, even though Hyolyn hasn't been doing the best since she left Starship, she's like, there's no one else who could treat me any better. They're all sharks. They're all out to do harm. So yeah, Bride music isn't doing great, but it is what it is. Taman is a self-made thing in a lot of ways. If you can give Taman a book of songs, he will pick 12, he will hire a choreographer, and he will get out there and promote the shit out of this thing. All of his videos look like commercials for BDSM clubs. He knows his aesthetic. He has his audience. He has a built-in legacy. And somehow or another, BP still can't manage to keep from getting their greedy asses and getting him into trouble and not paying people and making side deals and doing all these other things. It's ridiculous. And yeah, I will be honest. I remember thinking it was kind of weird that Onu's situation was like him and like a bunch of like yoga people. But you know what? Maybe that's what it has to be. Maybe you need to have an association with people who have nothing to do with this industry, that are maybe just like business people, because this industry is fucked. Another example of this industry being fucked. Manon from Cat's Eye. Manal's a beautiful girl. I don't follow her personally because I don't follow any of the girls from Cat's Eye personally. But I have to say, it warmed my dead cold heart to hear that Cat's Eye was being honored at the Grammys. What a gag it would have been if they had won Best New Artist. But I digress. But I loved the fact that Cat's Eye was different and quirky, and they proved everything I had been saying for years about the fact that if you could synthesize what's exciting about K-pop and bring it into Western spaces, it would go gangbusters. You know, the choreography, the fun videos, the fun aesthetic. I remember thinking, like, this kind of veneer could go very well in Western spaces. It just seems like the problem is K-pop acts try to become Western, but when a Western act tries to become K-pop and they do it under expert guidance, it's a winner. It's a home run. It's a smash. And it fucking was. It really and truly was. But black women in K-pop will always be demonized. Black women in K-pop, even if it's a Western group, will always be treated like an afterthought. Black women in K-pop will always have racism working against them, even if they're a black woman from France or wherever the fuck she's from. You will never be treated fairly as a black woman in K-pop. That is a fact because black women across the planet are not treated fairly. What makes you think K-pop, which already is xenophobic towards non-Korean Asian idols, would ever treat a black woman fair? Never gonna fucking happen. Also, fuck Hype forever and a day. The way this whole New Jeans thing has happened, the way that Danielle has been cast out like she's the fucking bad guy, but then, crazy enough, as the dust settles, Minhee Jin made out like a fucking bandit. This bitch won. This bitch won. And, you know, we had said when the whole thing went down with New Jeans, the only people who would ever be victims are the girls. We said that. Minhee Jin might be evil. Uh, Bang Hisup might be evil. There's so many evil people at the top, but the only victims were ever going to be those girls. And funny enough, the girl who happens to be biracial is the main villain as cast by Hybe. It just, all of these things over all of these months have made me not give a damn about K-pop, which is so upsetting to me because, to be honest with you guys, I owe you a video. I had a video ready for you. I listened to every single SM album that came out in 2025. It took me hours. And when I say hours, I mean 6 hours. I spent 6 hours nonstop listening to albums I hadn't already listened to. So I had like already in my mind several hours worth of listening, but I went on a binge and I listened to the other 6 hours of SM that I hadn't listened to. And it was not SM Japan, SM China. No, strictly every SM release in Korea, I listen to. I listen to people that I never listened to. I listen to genres that I never listened to. I listen to everybody's solo. By the way, Key's last album was his best album. The way Key has been treated by Korea for the fact that a person without a license was allowed to have a practice inside of a hospital, but he was treated like he should have been the one to go to the medical board and find out her fucking certifications is bullshit. Again, I digress. We love Key. He was done terribly. I can see why Minho has decided to give up being an idol and move on to being a triathlete. But I listened to every fucking album because I wanted to love K-pop. And I was like, if I could just listen to my favorite labels, favorite peoples, maybe I could find a way to continue going in this thing. It has been so fucking difficult. Now, also, it's not like 2025 has been a great year. As an American, the last couple of years, honestly, have been pretty freaking trash. But I've been scratching and surviving, trying to stay out here, trying to stay positive. I have a daughter who I can't let her see me fall apart when she wants to fall apart. I have to still maintain a facade that life is worth living as an American citizen. But struggling with America and then having to struggle with trying to love K-pop when K-pop is giving you every reason to not give a fuck about it, I just lost the battle. I couldn't do it any fucking more. And again, I really want to love K-pop. I want to love K-pop so bad. I feel so much pride in K-pop, surprisingly enough. Like, K-pop feels like a kid that I taught in elementary school to me. You know, having been a fan now for next year, it'll be 15 years. I've been a fan of K-pop